Welcome back to The Insight Now, where we want to buckle down and discuss the state of play as far as politics in the country is concerned, and various bills, of course, that have been passed and are eagerly waiting also to be passed. That we have it also the Political Parties Act 2024. But primarily right now is also the bill that has been contentiously awaited for to go through, and this is the Assisted Reproductive Technology Bill 2022. It's sailed through the third reading, waiting now for the assent of the President. We'll tease out our guests this evening. We want to now just get to the thumbnails and, of course, discuss a raft of issues that are on the table right now, as I'd mentioned earlier. But let me just begin with members of the National Assembly who are mourning. Earlier on, we had given the news of the passing on of Isiolo South Constituency Member of Parliament, Tubi Bidu Mohammed, who passed away in Nairobi, or at Nairobi Hospital. And we had also a reporter there, Mike Kagwonga, just giving us the details of what is now in the offing as far as the funeral arrangements are concerned and people who had come also to the hospital. And we now want just to give a moment to Honorable Peter Kaluma to also pay his condolences and just tell us how they received the news today at the National Assembly. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, let me pass my heartfelt condolences to the family of Honorable Tubi Mohammed, the MP for Isiolo South. He's a member of Parliament I was serving with, and I knew a person who is very humble, very unassuming, ever jovial, and very respectful and courteous in the manner he interacts with his people. And a person who was very focused on his national duties, service, not the type of, many of us politicians, rarely, rabble-rousing, very dignified in his manners and approach,
yes,
but very conscientious also in the manner he drove his leadership agenda, pursuing the interest of his people. And so I wish, his family God's, strength and comfort as they mourn him. I personally received the news in Parliament,
yes,
and we were engaged in business in the evening, and with great, shock. Because a number of MPs have been ailing in the recent past. He was not known to be one of them. In fact, we have about 4 other colleagues who have been, unwell. So his death came in the most unexpected time and way. And so it's a big shock to, all of us. May I, also join Kenyans in praying for the people of Isiolo South as they mourn their leader. That they will have the strength and of course, to give him the dignified send-off that he truly deserves.
Right. And I know Senator Richard Onyonka may not be intimately familiar with him being now in the Senate as well, but I'll also give you just a moment to pay your condolences and deepest sympathies as well.
Yeah, it's true. Like you say, I most probably met him once or twice.
Okay.
And just like Honorable Kaluma said, I really wouldn't even want to remove a single sentence. I think anytime somebody passes on, especially somebody who has got leadership, who has been working for people, I believe that the people of Isiolo will miss him. And the best we can do is just wish that his family can settle in and accept it and make sure they move on. Because essentially all of us are heading there anyway. Yeah.
So does that also come with the declaration of a seat vacant from the Speaker? Because we know now, I don't know how the dynamics are going to be. We have the by-elections which are coming up in a few days, the 27th, and the campaign also, I think, have begun in earnest. So how does this also change the dynamics of also the by-elections? Do we add it to this particular number, or how does it, maybe you can tell us?
No. There are constitutional and legal processes for notifying, death within Parliament and for declaration of vacancy. So this one is not yet notified.
It's not notified.
And it is not.
Do we have any limited days on when it should be notified, or?
Yes, I think there are some prescribed days. I cannot remember clearly.
Okay.
But really, once, cogent information is with the House confirming the fact of death, those legal processes will, begin apace.
Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, this particular death has no bearing with the by-elections. The by-elections were for those which were notified before.
Before, yes.
And those vacancies, therefore, were duly declared under the Constitution and the laws by the House and by the Speaker. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That is well said. All right, very interesting bill today. That maybe we just want to discuss it and then we get it off the table and move to other matters. The Assisted Reproductive Bill. And I saw you, Honorable Kaluma, making a statement also regarding this particular bill. Kenyans will want to know what are some of the implications, what are some of the key changes that they should be aware of. Can you tell us? It's been a long time in coming. Yes.
Let me start by congratulating Honorable Millie Odhiambo for the efforts she has made for this law to reach where it is. It has not yet become law because the National Assembly is done with it, but it is going to the Senate. It's a law which has to be transacted and, resolved upon by both houses of Parliament. But this is the third...
spirit of concurrence. Right?
Yes. This is the third time Honorable Millie Odhiambo has pursued this law. It has come under different titles. I remember the 11th Parliament. It came under something in vitro fertilization law, IVF. In the 12th Parliament, there was an effort to bring the law under the in vitro IVF, bill. This is the third time. And each time, I think, I remember it went through the National Assembly. It somehow, died in the Senate. We have made all efforts this time to secure that the National Assembly, even while looking at it in detail, to secure that it is a good law, has passed it in good time. And my hope is that when it reaches the senators, will also, prioritize it, so that, from the Senate again, it will come to the National Assembly for enactment. If there are amendments proffered by the Senate that the National Assembly later disagrees with, it will have to go for mediation committee. So because of all those stages and possibilities, being a novel law, I would request the Senate, where my brother, Honorable Senator Onyonka now sits, to prioritize it. Let me say something about, this law. The fact of the matter, Dibal, as you mentioned before, is that we have gamete donation happening across the country. If you go to Kilimani areas, you go to Hurlingham areas, the most targeted section of our population are students, okay? And they are donating gametes, ovum, sperm, for, fertilization and for, creation into human life and for various purposes.
Are they donating or are they actually selling?
In fact, they are selling.
They're selling, isn't it?
They're selling. And I therefore know that this area of law is novel. All religions do not want this thing called assisted reproductive, technology, or what in common parlance is called as surrogacy. Okay. There was a meeting in 2025, which Honorable Onyonka will confirm to you, in Casablanca, Morocco, where a global ban, was proposed for surrogacy, and a declaration came to. And I remember even Kenya participated. So there is a push for a global ban, against surrogacy across the world, but not voluntary surrogacy, but commercial surrogacy. Okay. In October 2025, the UN Special Rapporteur also made a call for global ban on surrogacy.
Yes.
You remember Honorable Beatrice Elachi, before Pope Francis passed on, he said surrogacy, commercial surrogacy, should be stopped across the world because it commodifies womanhood, it commodifies the child. And so these pushes have been there to ban surrogacy in a commercial form. Why so? I wanted to tell you that if you go across the world, in Africa, this law, if passed ultimately by the Senate, would be the first law dealing with assisted reproduction or surrogacy. In Europe, commercial surrogacy is prohibited. The only nation which opened its borders to commercial surrogacy is Ukraine. And if you remember when Russia raided Ukraine, Onyonka, there was the lamentation that the Russian soldiers disappeared with between 20,000 to 30,000, children, okay? You've not had the parents of these children cry about their children or ask about their whereabouts. The fact of the matter is that Ukraine opened itself to commercial surrogacy, and those children do not have, natural parents. And then so you don't know what is happening with those children. And I can tell you the risk we've seen with surrogacy, commercial surrogacy, the reason as to why there is this push, against it, is that you don't know what is happening to those children. These are the children that are usually the victim of organ harvesting, because people get them, freely. There is no legal protection around them. They are in an environment where they are not related to anybody. When a person goes and says, I have $50 million for his 2 kidneys, they don't care. These are also the children beyond organ harvesting, which some researchers who do not want to use guinea pigs, use for actual scientific, research. These are the children who are exploited through pedophilia or child sex, pornography. And that is why you don't hear that situation. So those children, the numbers vary from 20,000, sometimes they report 27,000, sometimes 30,000. Nobody knows what is happening to them, and that is why there is that push. A short time back in 2014, Honorable Beatrice Elachi, an Australian pedophile who had been convicted on his own plea of guilty went to Thailand, which also allowed at the time commercial surrogacy, got a lady aged 21 years, implanted an embryo into her. The lady gave birth to a boy, twins, a boy and a girl. The gentleman disappeared with the girl, leaving the boy as an abandoned child. Remember, the surrogate mother was not the bearer of the child in terms of being the producer of the gamete that forms the child.
Yes.
He was hired, her womb was hired just to produce the child. And this gentleman disappeared with the girl. The boy remained because the boy was sick, I think Down syndrome. And the world only got alerted when this girl was now seeking help, and the whole world was contributing. You can look at it in YouTube or in Google.
Yes.
Only to be discovered when now the world was alerted to this fact, that this gentleman who disappeared with the girl had been convicted over 12 times for pedophilia, having sex with children, girls as young as 3, 4, 5 years. So going with this girl, you see the risk the girl was going to, it being the case that that gentleman was not genetically connected. So the child was just going to undergo grooming. It is because of such situations that there has been a push to prohibit commercial surrogacy. I am congratulating Honorable Millie, because while this law was brought, okay,
thank you,
it acknowledges that there are cases of infertility or inability on the part of some Kenyans to naturally conceive children. And so Millie has agreed to bring this law, and we went through this law. This law had 52 clauses, okay? It was directed to go to the committee. Public participation was done. It went through second reading. We went to the committee of the whole house. And because I personally proposed very many amendments, the bill through parliamentary process was sent to what we call harmonization or winnowing. I'm thanking Millie because she became very objective when we were before the health committee under the leadership of Dr. Nyikal. Out of those 52 clauses, other than the title, we redrew from clause 2 to clause 52. And the consequence of it, and then we brought in new clauses, up to over 35 of them, to ensure that we will permit, surrogacy that is not commercial surrogacy.
Fantastic.
So in a nutshell, the bill prohibits commercial surrogacy. The bill, as against what happened in Ukraine, now expressly limits assisted reproduction only to Kenyan citizens. So there is no way like somebody coming hiring
yes.
a umbia and doing it.
Thank you.
The bill prohibits abuse of surrogacy or assisted reproduction by people in infertile relationships, homosexuals and others.
Okay.
The bill has very strong pillars and columns
So we're not
that ensure the protection of the child. And the bill is stopping abuse, so that the bill prescribes very clearly, allow me to say this, that for you to benefit from assisted reproduction, okay, you must be a person certified by an assisted reproductive technology expert, and we have defined who that expert is, to be infertile or incapable of natural conception, carrying pregnancy to term and delivery, so that it is not abused by anybody else who wants to deal with it. But in terms of protection, allow me to mention that we have said that where you have a couple and one of them produced a gamete, which ended up in the child, that child, when born, really is the child of the intended parent, the person who requested the surrogacy process. But where the child is not genetically related, okay? Like we are here three, allow me to use the example. If my cell were to be taken and Honorable Elachi's, okay, and then we land them in the womb of another lady for your benefit, you see, you are not connected to the child in any way.
Yes.
We've said in that case, the child will only be yours after a court process where records are kept. It will be easy in as much as you have, you know, a surrogacy agreement. And we've said it is the High Court, no less a court.
Thank you.
So that there are records, you cannot hurt the child or do anything that is protecting the child. And so we've ensured the process of assisted reproduction is available to Kenyans who need it, but on very strict parameters that avoid its abuse while dealing with that societal, you know, need.
Indeed. And so it's awaiting concurrence from the Senate, and we know Honorable Melio Dambo has been doggedly following this particular bill for the longest time. Senate, you've been shooting it down. Is there any rhyme or reason why it never sailed through before, so that this particular moment maybe we'll have a ray of hope?
No, there were. In fact, my brother Kaluma has just explained to you that the issues which were outstanding at that time when the bill was presented, actually when it went back, there were certain amendments which were done to accommodate the issues we were raising. Because the feeling that was at the Senate at that time was that the bill was a bit general in terms of targeting individuals. For example, there was fear that the individuals who have not been able to conceive and get children legitimately were actually going to be shut out because we are trying to cure a problem, and that is the abuse. But I believe right now what they have done, and I also commend my sister Millie and him, they've really been pushing this matter. And for me, I speak really like Kaluma. We are Catholics, and there are certain basic minimums that we agree to, and there are others we don't agree to. And right now, those minimums have actually been maintained.
All right, those minimums have been maintained, but I know also it's a very controversial issue when it comes maybe to the ethical dynamics of it.
Yes.
As you said, from the religious persuasion, the religious community has been stoutly against this particular surrogacy
No,
bill.
it's true. The other point I think, Honorable Kaluma, that I forgot to raise is that this issue has cascaded onto, you see it in the streets of Nairobi.
Yes.
Where you find somebody who's come from Russia, is walking around with 2 children who are like you and me, and you're like, how did this happen? All right, do we have the history of the parents of this child? Do you have, what did they do for this child to be available? Because even when you try and ask about the answer, not even the ancestry, who the parents of this child are, you are told these are the parents. So we have to even go further now and look at our adoption laws because of the way modernity has changed, where sexuality is no longer the normal issues that we have dealt with biologically or otherwise. Now, you heard what Honorable Kaluma said, that pedophilia is now the biggest thing, that people are insensitive about some of those things. So we are saying, in fact, and for me, it's something that the National Assembly has done well, and they can even go further, because we are really losing who we are. There are certain things that we shouldn't do, and there are certain things that we should do. But you find that because of this modernity issue, You find that we are callous about it, we're easygoing. I remember Kaluma has always brought these issues out, and most people look at him as if he's basically a mad person. No, if you look at what is happening to our country right now, we should have some basic minimums. This you can do, and this you cannot do. Yes.
Interesting, because I think I'd raised that issue with Elachi. She gave a very interesting perspective in one of the interviews we had here regarding, you know, you call it the gametes here that are being sold right now at a premium price of 100,000, 200,000, you know, Kenyan shillings as it stands right now. Yeah. But how then do we, I don't know what confidence they have been put with this legislation in this epoch of time where we are living and people are talking about, you know, the alphabet community that is always growing. And they've had cases where they cannot, you know, this is not the natural way that God has endowed us to, you know, bear children. Bear children. Yes, so they'll say, of course, surrogacy is the way to go to now, of course, enhance the family at the end of the day. How does it then protect? They'll come and say, we have equal rights enshrined in the Constitution, just as any other person, right? And the rights to, you know, have a family is one of them. Regardless of how it is. So if there is surrogacy and the IVF, why can't we go that particular way? How are we protected from this so that it is not being abused?
Well, first of all, definitely, let me also congratulate Honorable Millie, because we've come from far, but also appreciate what Kaluma has. He has really followed this bill. And as my senator says, definitely for us in the Catholic, we will look at it in many ways. But having said that also, it's one way of now allowing someone to be a parent. But then we have to agree and not to run away, that definitely you will always have legal challenges in this, definitely. And they will always, always have challenges in contracts. That contract enforcement will always have a challenge. Either you will have to decide, and disputes will always be there because of the health risks and many other things that will happen. Because you see, what we forget, the pregnancy can be there, and at a time you will assume this will be a very, a mother who will carry through. You arrive at a point, maybe you give birth, when you're delivering, it's a stillbirth. What happens? So there will always be, because you see, when parents are waiting for a surrogate to take care of the child, sometimes they don't even care about the person carrying. They care more only how this baby is growing. And in Europe, that is why they became very strict, because they realized that is what many people do. That for you, even you'd rather, what about when I'm delivering and then I pass on? Because it happens. Maternal deaths, they're there. And in our country, very high. You just saw what we were saying. So these are some of the challenges. And so, yes, it is a good start, but I know it will have lots of hurdles. And so slowly by slowly also we need to create awareness. Who are you creating that awareness to? Must be also very clear that when you're going through this as a person, this is what you'll go through. The good thing with the law is that we have so many of our girls who are going through this because of challenges of poverty. And so I'm hoping now the law can help them, that you can have a good contract and you can understand what you're going to go through. And the law is there to protect you, but also, if you're not careful, can jail you, you know, because you cannot also decide that is a business.
Thank you.
That every 9 months I am able, and in the next I am selling. So the law comes in and confines you also to ensure we don't go through that.
In fact, if I can just add something, I was shocked last week. 2 weeks ago, we were in one of the hospitals in Eastern Kenya, and I was shocked that one of the people we were with was actually making a suggestion that this blood donor service, why don't you people start selling your blood? I mean, people have casualized it.
Yeah.
And yet, this is our blood.
Yeah.
You know, so there's so much for us to look into, because that is the blood that has got the DNA. That is the blood that is going to have everything that is good, scientific about who we are and whatnot. And yet people are saying, no, no, no. In fact, if you can sell that little sachet for $10,000 or $1,000, there are some people who are willing to donate 10 of those things per day.
Right. However, let me come to you, because I think your mic has fallen somewhere. So that if my director may just take a long shot there, I try and adjust it. But you can talk about...
fact, in terms of the question you are asking...
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
The bill has initially drawn in some definitions, which you remember I was thanking Honorable Mili for agreeing objectively that we correct, was a bit liberal in terms of definitions.
Yes.
And that it would have possibly allowed the alphabet community or the homosexuals to use the avenue of, the law to create children.
Yeah.
Because remember, the bill in clause 2 defined, couple as people who are in an association, two people in an association, even if that association is not recognized as marriage in Kenya. You know, in Kenya, marriage is between male and female.
Yes.
Then if you look at clause 22, the bill, as against creating a pathway for everybody, was now specific to, intersex persons.
Yes.
And I was saying, but the bill at clause 14 already says anybody who is incapable of natural conception, so long as you are a Kenyan.
The operative word is natural.
Yes, can get it. Why do we specify categories again? But if you connect the definition of couple I've told you, and what was in clause 22, the LGBTQI++ group was complete. And so the amendments we have done is to clear all that and to make it clear that this would be for people who are incapable of natural conception, and they must be people, okay, implicitly, who are heterosexual, so that we avoid those abuses. There are other restrictions we put in the bill, because Elachi has told you, Onyonka has told you, that gamete donation is going on. Our people are being exploited. Do you know there are international conventions preventing hiring or renting of human body parts for gain? And these are the things I took before the committee, the health committee, and they were like, oh my God, we cannot allow that. And that is why we were stopping, commercial surrogacy, because it is essentially what we call womb hiring. You hire a womb, you implant an embryo, and you take the child. As if, the act of carrying a child and the process is just mechanical or artificial. Remember, in as much as the child may not be genetically connected to the mother, there is some connection between a mother, even if you say it's a surrogate mother, with a child, because they share cells, and then it moves. And some of those surrogate mothers, by the way, go through dementia. Others are shattered emotionally. But the process of surrogacy is that the child is delivered, the mother should not be allowed to touch. They go with the child straight away.
Even hold.
That's why we are creating avenues where, in fact, even in terms of licensing of clinics, okay, so that we avoid these places. And we've created penalties. If this law were to be passed by the Senate and it becomes law, the things we are having of exploitation of our students and young people, gamete donation, extraction, paying of 100, 200 shillings, will be punishable as offenses. You would not do this unless, you are a licensed clinic. And the licensing procedure is by the Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council.
Right.
The same to the medical practitioners. The experts must be certified, not just every, medical practitioner. So we put restrictions to ensure that there are due protections, even as we allow Kenyans who are in need of, those services.
Fantastic.
To benefit from them.
Thank you. Thank you. I think maybe you have any... I think I interrupted you when you're commenting on it with the mic. But
no,
you're done.
I'm done.
Maybe in closing, because I can see individuals or organizations found guilty of engaging in commercial surrogacy face fines of up to 10 million shillings or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years. Or both.
Yes.
I thought it should be more than 10.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it should sound very prohibitive. And then it says medical professionals, including doctors and embryologist working at fertility
I'm sure we'll
clinics.
amend to increase.
Yes.
You'll amend to increase.
Yeah.
Because I
But
think...
this is about creation of human beings.
Yes.
And for purposes which, if not lawful, because you can kill those human beings. Even in terms of dealing with embryos, we were saying you cannot just deal with embryos for the sake of it.
Indeed.
Because life begins at conception.
Life begins at conception.
They have to be protected.
And this is where people, conception, of course, even if it's in a surrogate mother.
Correct.
Or, that's the fusion where it begins. But truly, we're talking about now what the stigma around it, finally, as we're winding up on it, of the stigma of the test tube babies. Just as you've mentioned, that now, there's no conscience because you can't actually relate them to any parents. So they can be used as conduits of commercial products. For commercial sex, for human...
Scientific research.
Scientific research. Yeah, the stigma around it as well. How is it going to be handled? Yeah, because now you give surrogacy, but still, when now I'm in class, who are your parents? A child will be, she'll be growing up with that particular stigma that I cannot identify to certain parents. I do not know my parents. I don't know who they are at the end of the day. So the trauma that really goes with this, even if you're passing a law, but looking just forward, how then are we going to deal with such stigma?
Very interestingly, I have one or two relatives who've had that scenario. And in fact, the stigma that existed was the pain that the family was looking at these young people who are not able to get children. In fact, not even the fear, the worry that I knew as a family member was the fact that constantly this is a matter that was affecting the relatives that I knew, and that is because they didn't get children. So there was this concern, a very deep concern on what was to be done. So such a case, which ended up being successful anyway, even as expensive as it was restricted. In fact, ironically, I know now Kenyan doctors are good enough, and they have really tried their level best to do IVF and all that. But in America, the restrictions are there, the conditions are known at that time. So what this bill does, and this is why I really give my brother and Millie a lot of oomph on what they have done, is to give it a legal structure and give it medical structure. And for us who are deeply religious, put us in a position where we accept that this can cure that, but don't use it for the purposes of which are going to do evil. That's really what the argument is about.
But, I wanted to just ask, how then do you have that preventative measure that these monies are not going to be exchanged? Because if you're saying 10, that's a fine. We are not in their houses. We are not where these transactions are happening. How do you police this? That's another question.
It's the toughest question because, now that's what we started with. So where are we in our values? It's a big challenge for Kenya. And not just for us, because sometimes when we speak, people think, they're just talking because no. Every Kenyan Dibal today in a family must be asking themselves, what happened to the values? What happened to the conscience? Are you still reading the Bible? Let's start from there. Because anyone who is still reading the Bible, then you must know because everything that we see today was in that Bible, was with the Israelites, and there's a time when God just comes and strikes and tells you it's wrong. So even this thing we talk about, sexually, what, there's nothing. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah went. And it is important for us to now face it and say as it is, so that our children can understand we are not headed to the right way. And because we tell them and they think it's a joke, they are forgetting, we walk, we shall be gone. They will be there. The same God is the same God who created that earth, who gave you breath, who made you become a Kenyan or whatever we call ourselves, but made you a creature and made you a human being creature. Is the same God, who is a jealousy God, who will strike at any time he wants, and there will be a time he will strike. Yes, because
Right.
we must go back
And
to this
also
value.
Aren't we also broaching on a very, should I say, very tenuous and a very sensitive subject when we come also to the sensitivities of religious, persuasions at the end of the day when you're talking about this, and
maybe Kaluma will start, then I come.
Yeah, that's
something I would like.
Yeah,
to say.
the order that God has actually put out there, so to speak, of how the human beings should be nurtured.
Yeah.
This is a natural.
Even animals.
Yeah. Because there has to be the parenting that really goes on. You're born into a family. You're born into a parenthood where you are nurtured, you're cared for, you're loved for, and to grow to become a holistic human being. So when we pass such laws, right? Because we say, of course, these are the parents. Maybe they're doing it because they are not able to actually, conceptualize, right? Or to have that particular conception. So we have this particular law which is coming to bear right now. But what I'm asking is, aren't we also bringing and breaking the natural order that has been laid down by God, that this is how the family should be at the end of the day? What sort of creatures are we trying to nurture if it will be sort of in a laboratory, so to speak?
I started by, telling the viewers that all religions, whether Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, if you just go to Google, they are all opposed.
They are opposed
to surrogacy or artificial reproduction, because to them God ordains creation, and creation comes from the will of God. And you remember, people say even when you beget a child, God has given so and so a child, and that is what we even tell our children. Your young child will ask you, where did the child come from? God gave us a child through mama. You know what I mean? And now those are the things we had to, think through as we were dealing with the reality on the ground. And it is because of the question you are asking that we are saying no to commercial surrogacy. But we are saying, if you agree to carry an embryo, allowing it to be implanted into you, and to carry it to term, know whether you die in the process, the pains you suffer, there will be no pay. And so by this law, we've denied any person who agrees to carry a child to term for another the right of claim before a court of law. If the other person decides to give you something, well and good, okay? But we've also limited the age and elements of qualification. Do I tell you, a woman, for instance, who is 55 years and above cannot be an intended parent and cannot seek to have a child. What were we considering? We were saying, when you beget a child, even through another person, you must have some lifetime to bring up, this child, okay? Yeah, so while we are dealing with the reality of infertility, and infertility can arise in various ways. Maybe you are not able to produce a mature gamete. Maybe for a woman, you have a problem with fertilization in the oviduct. Maybe you have no problem with the egg and fertilization, but your uterus cannot carry, or womb cannot carry the child, to term, okay? In which case, if you can have a mature ovum, we will allow you through artificial mechanism to bring it together into an embryo with, the gamete of your husband or spouse, and then have somebody like, if it were to be Beatrice in that situation, somebody like her sister to carry it and deliver it to them for free. That way you see that connection.
Thank you.
But we are telling you, even if you were to die, remember you cannot go before a court of law and say, I died, I should be paid. So you must know you are taking those risks voluntarily, in good faith, for either a relative, a friend in terms of your faith, but not for pay, because international conventions prohibit such benefits.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I wanted to compliment what the team has done. But again, from what Madam Elachi has said, isn't it time that we started sitting down as Kenyans who are of African descent
Yes.
and ask ourselves, where are we really? Even when we are beginning with our CBC system,
Yes.
what do we intend to do with that system?
Yeah.
Because if you look at where we are, I have been watching very, very keenly and observing what is happening to us. Just go and look at what's there on TikTok. I mean, that is what drives our youth. That is what makes our young people feel that they are part and parcel of this world. And I don't think that is the case. I believe that, and I say this with a lot of humility, if you look at the Muslim community, they have basic minimums you don't go beyond. You see what I'm saying? And yet, when you look at a normal, ordinary Kenyan who's most probably Christian, we have been lowering the bar and lowering the bar and lowering the bar from the way we dress, from the way we carry ourselves, from the discipline in the houses, from the current social culture. I mean, you find you're sitting in the dining table with your kids, Madame is there, and everybody is on the phone, and people are eating. People are on the phone and the food is here, and you hear everybody going, What happened to us? There are certain basic minimums we need to go back to. I know that's a tall order, but I believe that some of us who believe in that need to figure out a deep way, because this society, without these corrections, is not going to go anywhere.
No.
It's not going to go anywhere. You look at the way we behave in social places, you look at the way how we behave in traffic, you look at the way how kids are behaving in school. We are having an issue. And I think this is a conversation that we must begin to have as a people, so that we can then decide which sort of country, which sort of nation, and which sort of people we are bringing up.
Dibal,
Yes.
Dibal, let me add something to what Onyonka said.
Can I hear from Beatrice, then we'll come to you? Yes, please.
Well, I think for me, the question now will be, why do we go to church? Do we still go to the church that you went? I went in the day I went into my Sunday school. Does that Sunday school still function? Or also
It's broken down.
It's broken down, and so we just walk in, walk out, because our Muslim brothers and sisters, they will be in their madrasas even at home. Absolutely. They will have a teacher who will come to guide. And so we can't blame them when we see them flourishing and moving. No, we have to think.
Those are the foundations
and for me,
they have.
While we talk about Uganda, you talk about Tanzania, yes, they have their own challenges that they are facing. I was in Tanzania 9 days, I can tell you. But one thing they have kept is their values. Because even when they were angry with everything they were doing, one of the things they said, we will not do the Kenyan way. We will do it the right way to show we are angered, and we can't just break everything, but we'll go specific to the people we feel have made wrong to our government, to our people. So it tells you, for us, and when we talk about it, we are not blaming our young people. We are blaming ourselves as parents.
Because we failed.
Because we are the ones who have failed these young people. And so we need to think, but then what we are telling our young people also, we know we have failed, but we can have a conversation, because slowly by slowly, we are narrowing you down, and all the opportunities we used to have for you are going. Because today, even to just go in the whole of the Gulf is becoming a big issue to our young people. So they're saying, are you 40 years and above? You get a visa. When you're young, they can't give you. And it's because of their values. And so I want to plead with them. We have Tanzania that has its challenges right now. We need to tell our young people, Kenya is the pillar of this East Africa. Because if you look at every country around Kenya now, they are on what I call, you are just about to blow up.
It's a
whether you like
to
it,
explode.
Whether they like it, whether they call us names. But one thing we must do, we must remember, we shall be the ones who will carry the biggest burden, because they will flock to Kenya. And so I want to tell our young people, we've always kept everyone who has been thrown out, done what, let us keep that, because that's the only gift.
And
God
they're
gave
already
this country.
flocking. We've just seen the Tanzanian journalists. We just
Yeah.
did a story.
And it's just,
with Tanzanians.
it is
now they're
slowly.
seeking refuge here.
It is slowly and slowly, and something is just going to come out that is not going to be good, and Kenya will have to step in to help Tanzania.
Okay.
So we are still brothers and sisters, regardless. And so, as much as I see, oh, we've gone to Uganda, we have been taken. Yes, you knew you'll be taken, because you know how they run government.
System
there.
is.
Because, yeah, and we must start asking ourselves, who are we in all this East Africa? Why is it Kenya is like this? Why is it we are unique? Why is it sometimes our things move? And why is it we were given gold, our brain, but very soon the gold God gave us, I can see it going, because how we function now differently. We think this thing of a Muzungu is the best brain.
It's the beginning
No,
and the end.
This is what the Muzungu wanted to colonize. This is the second colonization that we have, if we are not careful to use it in the right way.
All right. Honorable Kaluma, I interrupted you. You've not lost your train of thought.
Dibal, let me say something. Just last weekend, I was in a four-star hotel in Nairobi, a very decent hotel by standards. And I was with my, son, who had just, done his first national exams. We want to have, lunch and to celebrate him, our exams, because during exams I was away, mourning my party leader. And a man and a man are crossing our path, kissing one another. And I'm like, what is? They're there. What is happening here? Let me tell you, it is for some of these reasons that you see some of us saying, I support somebody like President Museveni. People do not ask why. Last time, you remember, I told the entire world, I'm going to the United States to campaign for Trump. The West has been destroyed. Their morals, their social values and fabric has been mangled.
Yes.
You see what is happening in the US now. And in Kenya, we are gobbling these things when they are seeking to reverse them.
Oh,
Trump is reversing them.
Yes.
See how Kenyans are celebrating the fact that UN Women is coming to Kenya. UNICEF is coming to Kenya. United Nations Population Fund is coming to Kenya. Why are we not asking the deeper questions? Why are they leaving New York? And to us, we are thinking of UNEP being expanded, we are having more. But what are the things they are promoting most? And when the world is noticing and Trump is stamping down, and by the way, the time Trump was coming, you were seeing nude shows in churches. They call them drag shows. D-R-A-G. You had a person totally naked. So they are glittering gods, and they are in church. You can Google, you see them. Yeah. They are reversing as we are gobbling them. And you hear us talking about things like comprehensive sexuality education, sexual health, reproductive rights. Can you go, Dibal, and see where these people say the rights of all women, not the rights of women? Who do they mean? It includes a man who says he's a transgender female. You get me? Or the right of women in all their diversity. Why not just the rights of women? These people use euphemism, a nicely appearing language, but they are destroying these societies. And I can warn Kenyans, while in Kenya we are delaying my family protection law, Onyonka, Kenya is under attack and resources are coming here, and some of us are being funded in a very big way to erode our culture. If we are not careful, we are going to have people who cannot stand and have a value you can distinctly say, this is a Kenyan, and it will be tragic. I go to TikTok sometimes. When you see ladies in the West, they have discovered this, they have invented this, they are doing this. What are Kenyan ladies, selling in TikTok? It is dance styles.
Yes.
Dance styles with half-naked bodies. Today it is this style, today it is this style. What are we taking to the world beyond what God has gifted us? And so we need a moral, we need a social, reset. And we must have things that are Kenyan.
Thank you.
And insist that we bring up our children in the manner we were also brought up.
Indeed.
That way we will have a better society.
All right. So there is an intergenerational gap that is there, that maybe these values were not really entrenched in our children, that now we can see the effect happening right now. But I wanted just to ask a very pivotal question, because in that constitution, Article 10 talks about the national values.
Yeah.
And Onyonka, I pose this question to you because soon, today is 12th, I think in 8 days, the president will be giving the State of the Nation address.
Yeah.
And before he normally, or after he has actually given the address, he normally has the national values report that comes from the Directorate of, is it Cohesion and National Values, not the NCIC, but from the office of the president.
Yes.
When he gives this national values to the speaker, what is the national values about? That's a question I've always wondered because no one really speaks about it. Okay, it is, oh, we give this, we hand it over to the speaker of both houses, yeah, and that is where it dies. Maybe we as journalists, we've never really interrogated to know. So we have Article 10 and this national values. What is this national values report that we get from the president? Or is it the other way around, that the speaker gives to the president or the president gives to the speakers? I've failed to understand.
The truth is this. We as a country have positioned ourselves where every single inch of anything Western has got higher value than what we believe in, or than what our DNA is actually formed with. We are made, if you leave what chapter 10 of the Constitution says, I mean, patriotism, national unity, sharing of devolution power, those are the values in governance. But we have social, cultural, ethical value system, values, which we have basically destroyed. Completely destroyed. And we have destroyed them because we've always believed that having the Western exposure and Western engagement, it means that we are moving faster to sophistication and Westernization, which then makes you look better if you are able to speak fantastic English, which then makes sure you move away and live where your other poor fellas don't live, because after all, they're the problem. In fact, I believe that I would say 90% of African people are really social democrat. We've always, if you look at the history of the Luo, if you look at the history of the Kikuyu or the Kisi,
yes,
you will find where we never quite let our people degenerate and basically become cabbages, and there were rules of engagement. There were protocols to be followed. You see, Dibala, I'll give you an example. When we took our kids for circumcision, it is now considered as a sexual event. It is not a sexual event. It was a process where the child went through mentorship, where he was told how to handle his mother, how he was to handle his father, how he handled his colleagues, the age mates. What happened when you moved to school? How did you, how did you begin to engage with sex, if you ever did? What was your engagement with your very essence as a person? What is your humanity? And my point is, we have allowed that humanity to disappear. And we have got inputs which are external. So as a result now, surrogacy, which now the team has brought a law against, in the African context, we had surrogacy. But it was never commercialized.
Yes.
It was never commercialized. We are the team where we had charity, but the charity was to uplift a neighbor and a member of the family who was not doing well. We would give them a surrogate cow, which they must return if it got a calf, for continuity. All those systems, we just dumped them. There is nothing of value that we have as an African people that we can stand on and talk about what is it that we believe that is about our core values as a person. What is the essence of being an African? How do we look at life? How do we look at death? How do we govern ourselves? So my argument is, even with the dysfunctionalities we keep talking about in leadership and other aspects of our life, it is simply because the systems which were there to guard against leadership. How do you treat a leader? And how does a leader treat his people?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? How was a father meant to handle his children? And how did the father handle the mother in front of the children? There were very clear rules. There's nothing like that. These days, whoever has the money calls the shots.
You did.
People sit in the house and look at each other like everybody's wasting their time.
Yeah.
If there's anything we share in common, most probably is if you have any wealth we can share.
But I will also maybe point a finger to the political class at the end of the day.
Yes.
I mean, even through these memorial ceremonies, we've just had one of a very prime figure within, you know, the upper reaches of government or in parliament, speaking and, you know, mentioning some very sensitive parts of the body from
Yes.
the podium. And he said, kama wewe ni mwanaume.
That is the
Kama wewe ni mwanaume na una.
Dibal, that
this
is
where I
the
put now.
sensitivity
Yes.
that we have picked as public leaders, and we are setting the tone.
Yeah.
That is the insensitivity that we have introduced in public life, where our children find that we are more nonsensical than them.
Indeed. And
Yes.
we have even here some of the female, you know, legislators
Exactly.
as well, talking about, you know, we want a two-time guy. Yeah, not a one-time guy. Yeah, so when we have these things, can we also bring to the legislators, I don't know, if they can be emotional on how we can have decorum in our politics at the end of the day?
No,
Because I cringed
But
myself.
if you allow me-
I didn't believe that
if you
somebody
allow me-
is mentioning some
if you allow
blankety
me
blank
for me not to
parts of the
interject
body.
against
Yeah, I
my
can't mention on
sister,
air.
I will tell you this.
Yes.
That is why I keep saying our country is so broken. We must begin to
Yeah.
fix it. We really have to fix
All
it.
of us.
Where
All
do
of
we-
us.
All of us.
Yes.
And we have to be sincere about it.
Yes. We
must
are not
never
saying we
be-
are good.
We must
no,
never be
no.
against anything because of
We are
what
not
they
good.
believe in or whatever. Let's just
Yeah.
discuss and say, as a people, who are we?
Yeah.
What have we become?
Yeah.
Why are we so casual?
Why are we so muzungu?
Yeah,
There's
why are
nothing
we
like
trying
it.
to behave
Why
like
do
we are
we want to be muzungu?
From our
We
music,
were never muzungu.
From our music to our shows on TV, we are not telling people our story. We are not.
left the story.
It is people who are telling us who we are, and we are failures, we are basically corrupt, we are bad people, we have no morals. That cannot be our story. There is a story about us, which is so beautiful and so wonderful, and it has been pushed behind. And when Kaluma talks about the issues he talks about, we must begin to ask ourselves as African,
All right.
what is it?
But have you interrogated why also Kaluma's bill, the family law bill, is getting so much, flack and fights? Are there any forces which are also
Many
trying
forces.
to push it back so that it doesn't see the
Many
light of
forces,
day?
Dibal.
Yes. Could we know? And how is the legislation? Yes, please.
Iba, let me tell you, other than the United Kingdom, I cannot travel to any European country
You cannot.
since 2020.
Oh, yes.
And by the way, I'm a member of a global leadership movement around family values called Political Network for Values. Even 2 weeks ago, I had an invitation to Netherlands, hotel paid, everything done. My visa was returned with no reason to travel.
Really?
Okay?
Because you are
Before
very
that,
strong on
earlier in the
LGBTQ.
year, I can tell you I was to travel to Paris, then go and chair a Tamil chapter across in Spain. Both embassies said there is no reason for me to travel. Yet other MPs, including my colleagues in Kenya, on the same invitation, traveled.
Sail through.
And so I can tell you the value.
So you're bearing the brunt of...
Yeah, you have to.
Yes.
And I'm very happy.
That's why
because
he supports Museveni.
I met, that's why I supported Trump, and that is why I support Museveni. And that is why sometimes, you remember I was supporting the previous, the Prime Minister of UK. When he said, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. But when you went to the UK before Trump, do you remember the interview, if you go on YouTube, of Ketanji Brown, the first black American woman nominated to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
They're vetting in the Senate. She's a woman, and the accolade and the nomination is about a black woman, the first one. She was asked by the senators, who is a woman?
She was at pains to explain.
No, in the long run, she said, I don't know, I'm not a biologist. Yet she's a woman. You know what I mean? I told you over time I visited a country in Europe.
Yes.
And I go to the male bathroom, then to the steam bath. And a fully grown woman, the age of my sister, the Honorable Beatrice Elachi, joins me in the steam bath, totally naked. And we are sitting there with other men. And I leave, and I go and ask the management, why did you allow a woman to enter the male bathroom area? Do you know what the management told me? Don't call him a woman because he has chosen to identify himself as, and he told me if you did, 6-figure fine before you leave this country. That is the madness. But let us go to the topic.
Yeah.
You know, Dibal.
Now we're living in a very strange area.
Yeah,
and a strange place where we're talking about pronouns, hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, don't go to some countries and say Mr. So-and-so before they say
yes.
they're Mr. You'll have problems. You get it. And you remember when I went to the Supreme Court, what was it about? Because the Supreme Court was interpreting sex as used as a ground for non-discrimination in Article 27. And that is where we have the gender, two-third gender principle, to mean sexual orientation. What is sexual orientation? The idea that you determine your gender each minute, each time. In Scotland now there is an investigation, Beatrice, where a person, upon identifying himself as a woman for purposes of imprisonment, okay, was taken to the male, prisons. And the gentleman raped every woman there. And by the way, the warden is saying, once he identified himself as a woman, it would be discrimination and punishable by law. Not to put him where women are.
Yes.
And you can do nothing about it. You know the stories of Raleigh Gaines and others.
Yes.
I wanted to cut it short by saying that the most powerful provision of our Constitution is Article 10.
Yes.
And by the way, we are the only 2 countries in the world with a provision on national values and principles of governance. Do you allow me to read them to you?
Only 2 countries. Which is the other country?
South Africa.
South Africa. Okay. Okay.
All else. Remember, a country like the United Kingdom is practicing these things we are listing without a written constitution.
Yeah.
But it is their nature. It's culture. It is natural.
They have kept it.
Here the values: patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination and protection of the marginalized, persons with disability, minorities and others, good governance, integrity, transparency and accountability, and sustainable development. Won't you be at difficulties asking why Kenyans are corrupt when we are talking about transparency, integrity, accountability?
Sounds to me like the entire embodiment of a constitution.
No wonder.
In that Article 10.
No wonder, Dibal, people are mourning Raila. You remember when I was here last time, I was saying, why don't the young people realize what Raila was doing in telling them, go slow, don't destroy your country? Patriotism. And Onyonka, I watched the interview when Raila died. I was very pleased. I keep, watching them. But the guy was saying, in as much as we enjoy our fundamental human rights, let us not lose our country. Okay? And you know how many times the gentleman sacrificed? No wonder, for the good of the nation, no wonder. To date, the graveside, the resting place of Raila, is still swarming with people, not just from Kenya, from Africa, from across the world. They go and honor him. So if you live by these values, I can tell
you have no issue.
You have no issue. And even in death, people will honor you.
Yeah.
But if we wait for rituals like the one which will be happening, remember the president is the head of state, the symbol of national unity. He takes oath to uphold the constitution and the laws. And so the president comes on a special sitting to give a report of the compliance by the government on these values. Do you know what happens?
Yes.
After that ritual, we will have, is it 2 or 3 days?
Yeah.
Where MPs, you will see even this one, instead of saying, is our government having the face of the nation? We, on the broad-based government side, will be just praising the president instead of interrogating compliance
and
with the
saying,
national values.
The values that we are supposed to uphold. Thank you, Kaluma.
That's why we miss it.
The values that we are supposed to uphold, we are not upholding them. The respect that we need to have for ourselves, we don't. I mean, a politician stands up and speaks certain things, and you are like, oh my God, does he understand that you are dealing with a state, not his house? A nation state. And the moment you fracture, you see, I am so happy Kaluma's brought this. When Kaluma, and I said it when I gave an interview, I think, when the issue of where the country was came up, if anybody tells you that it was the easiest decision made, he's lying. It was the most painful. It was sad.
Difficult.
We were asking questions.
Yeah.
Do we let it go? Do we try and salvage it? Can we let this country break down? If you break it down, how do you build it back?
Yeah.
Tell me.
But for me, I think the most important thing, and I'm still just thinking as a Kenyan, and as he says, when you look at Baba, a process, he reaches a point and he realizes, where will Kenya go? Where will these people go? Because you look at Somalia, I mean, I'll give an example, and I'm sorry to say this. So in our government, we go with a team. In the team, we're all of us Kenyans. And I'm saying this so that whoever, and he knows. So when you go to, and you know you're a Kenyan and you're in any ministry, when you arrive in that foreign country, you find your brothers and sisters or cousins from Somalia. You forget completely that we were together, completely, and you decide you'll be meeting with these people. They're the ones you'll be having a conversation. So this is what I want to ask, because I have said, Dibal, a few of us, and I know he always does, I know Kaluma does. So sometimes it's good to just ask tough questions, but people won't like them, yeah? So today, for example, if God grants favor to any of our brothers in Northeastern to rule Kenya, how will they rule us? I know they're wondering why I'm asking this. I'm asking this because sometimes it's like, I will take care of my brother. This is my brother.
Who's the first priority?
First priority. So where is Kenya?
That we're talking of inclusiveness.
Yes.
And national
that
unity.
thing is what Baba used to say. Don't say this is Sijui what? Inclusiveness. And even as we go to celebrate ODM at 20,
it's
ODM
national
as a party must not allow even one day for us to sleep and try and bring some confusion in our country. We should always remember he used to gather and bring it back onto the right track. And I am hoping that spirit is with us, and we must maintain it and always remember, regardless of the things we'll go through, peace has to come first. Peace for your country. And I want to plead with Kenya. I've said I was in Tanzania 9 days. Before then, I had an opportunity to go and celebrate with Museveni on Independence Day. And I want to tell Kenyans, this country will have to take care of these other countries. Let us not try and think we're better than others.
What is the point of taking the care of this other country?
Because
they're saying
transition
you're
is
infringing on their rights of their sovereignty.
No, it doesn't matter.
Bob here in the studio.
Those are leaders. We, as the same way as politicians talk in Kenya, is the same way, and we hide. We have a problem, but you're just keeping it under. The day it blows up, you will need a brother who is a neighbor. Who is your first neighbor? They will have to come and have a sitting. And I want to plead even with the leaders. We are in EAC. I want to plead with the leaders in Tanzania. None of us is perfect. None. Yes, we must respect the sovereignty. But there's one thing we agreed, that we are in EAC. And when things are not good, we are not saying Kenyans abuse. No.
But the reality...
We are not agreeing with those who are abusing. But what we want, let me just finish, Dibal, is that there must be, in that leadership of East Africa, a conversation that, yes, this has happened. How do we move? Don't cover.
All right.
Yes.
So has the president also, maybe even as we're winding up, in that particular spirit that you're talking, has the president, who is our president, who is the chair of the EACC, failed in terms of bringing every person to order in the East African community? Because he's not been very prominent in trying to castigate what is happening as, you know, the figure of stability around the region and the anchor state that we are around the region.
I wanted to say this, Dibal. I do not think, even if it was Kibaki, he would handle it.
Yeah.
This has been so dynamic. And you know, historically in the East African region, never forget this, anything that has happened in Kenya will happen in Tanzania, it will happen in Uganda.
Yeah.
When there were military coups, they happened in nearly the same time. So, like Madam Elachi is saying, can we first of all, as a region, and then come back to our countries, and then come to our regions domestically, and then come to our villages, what is it that we want to be? Because we can't be countries which are disorderly. We can't be countries that don't observe the rule of law.
Yeah.
We can't be countries that are going to, for example, what Kaluma and Madam Billy has brought.
Yes.
Issues that are religious-based, but which are being abused by certain individuals because of commercialization. That the system of capitalism that we have inherited from the West may not necessarily be the best without the social, cultural, ethical engagement that we deserve to analyze as a people. And for me, that's where we have failed. So even if you were to get President William Ruto and give him miraculous brains and miraculous hands, this is a conversation that was not there before the Kenyan crisis came.
Yeah.
Tanzania must have thought we were the fools.
Yeah.
And yet this thing is contagious. This phone, she said it, this phone does everything. So can we also figure out how we can use this phone to begin to tell our people that we expect certain standards. We must have certain minimum standards. That we are not going to have a country that is just like cowboys of the Wild West. Where everything is open for everything, for everybody. Where anybody can come in, like in Kenya now, anybody can come in and buy land, you know. We need to have basic minimums so that people know that when you are a Kenyan, there are things you do and there are others you don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to wind up. I think my director is trying to hound me here, but you just say,
if you go
give
to
your comments.
Dubai, go to China, try opening any pornographic site.
You can't.
You can't. But
So
in
why
Kenya,
have we allowed?
when you pass a law, the Cyber Security Amendment, saying pornography should not be allowed access to by our children, people take it to court.
To court.
The court stays.
And the court
You know the
stays
law.
it.
You get what I mean?
I think.
I only want to say,
Isn't
one
that the spirit
thing-
of democracy that we've always been gagging
No,
for?
but democracy must have moral.
there are limits.
There are limits.
But the point I wanted to make, because we are proceeding for the ODM at 20 celebrations.
Yes, please.
Let me beg all our people to remember what BAMBA stood for. I traveled with BAMBA through Kilifi when we were doing Malindi by-election. And I saw people of Kilifi, some having tears in their eyes, talking without knowing subconsciously when they saw BAMBA, approaching the venues. You see when BAMBA died, you see people from Northeastern, Dibal. You see people from Rift Valley. You see the Turkanas. You see Western Kenya. Everybody is crying equally. When we entered this last parliament, Onyonka, you know who wanted to be in the Parliamentary Service Commission? Moses Kajwang.
Yes.
Raila told him, not you. It will be Okongo Omogi. Oburu Oginga was to be commissioned a Parliamentary Service Commission. No. Mishi Mboko. Let us not lose the consideration of the equality of all Kenyans in the ODM family. And I want to tell all ODM members, as you converge in Mombasa, just see the constellation and the presence of the faces of Kenya. The best legacy we can keep for BAMBA is that we don't break into tribal cocoons.
Cocoons, yes.
Let us ensure everything is shared equally, inclusively. We have the national face in the pursuit of ideals. And that is why ODM, I tell you, it's a movement. Dibal, we are all members of ODM.
Yes.
Okay? But you can see how varied in thoughts.
In fact,
we would tell Baba, Sefuna is misbehaving, deal with him. He says, he has the right to have his own opinion and express it. Express yours.
Yes. Yeah.
Let us be a party which shares opinions, our diversities, and we move together.
Thank you.
Let us keep that.
Thank you. Elachi, your closing remarks?
Yes, for me, just to thank you, Dibal, and to say we've started a conversation. And Dibal, I want you to hold on it for the sake of the country.
Indeed.
And I will plead to our young people, they're closing school, that always remember, life is good. Life is there, But that life was given from us to a generation and a generation, and they believed we will move the country beyond. For us who are going to Mombasa, to Patane Mombasa ndio, but for this time, as ODM, I am pleading with them, all the leaders, focus. If you focus, you will go well with what Baba has left in our hands. If we try and fight those small fights of who wants to be the leader, we already know the leader is Uburu. We move like that. We will have blessings. We try and split, we try and abuse each other.
Thank you.
We need to respect our chair,
Thank you.
who is one, and we move.
Thank you.
As one, as a team, as always, and we will achieve.
So you're going to be in Mombasa tomorrow?
We're going to be in Mombasa tomorrow, na watu wa pwani tunakuja.
Yeah.
Tunaomba mtukaribishe.
Thank you.
But we will have to pray for the soul of Baba. I am telling you, we are not just going to do we must remember. We have gone there to celebrate a legend.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Yes. I'll be very, very brief. For me, the history and what has happened in our country with what Mzee Raila did, the message I have for my ODM brothers are very simple. Can we learn to be much more inclusive and more honest with each other, but learn to accommodate and have a give and take? The reality is, there are some of us, I think, Honorable Kaluma and Madam Elachi, I want to say this. There are a lot of people who are always around Raila. I don't think they ever learned anything from him. I really wish some of them can have a lot of soul searching. You didn't have to love Raila. There were certain things Raila would stand up. And for me, those things would blow me up. Like I've always said, imagine Dibal, we are at Pentagon House, and they are the Pentagon team, and about 15 other people standing there. And I was so happy the other day. I think I was with Nani here. I was with one of the MPs. We were with him, and he was in that meeting. And people were telling Raila, what are you waiting for? Organize, make phone calls, let's take guns, and we kill people because that's what we need to do. And I just saw Raila look at everybody and say, any of you who's man enough and wants to kill people in Kibera, go and kill them. They have already died.
Dr. Nyikal.
Nyikal.
Yes, Dr.
No,
Nyikal.
it wasn't Nyikal.
It wasn't Nyikal?
No. It was, we were with somebody, I don't know why I forget his name. The truth is, leadership is when you take those difficult situations, especially when it is not easy, and especially when it favors you. And every time, I've seen the arguments people make, I've seen the mistakes they say Raila made, and he made some. But the reality is, if some of us who are in this can just speak even 30% of what he stood for that was good, we'll be fine.
We'll be good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a very trenchant discussion we've had this evening. I thought we'll have gone into the murky world of politics, but at least you've done the country a favor of speaking on all the national values and also on this particular bill. But I'll be remiss if we don't wind up with this particular picture, just hacking back on time. And we'll ask my director to just beam it so that you can try and tell us if you can actually see those faces there.
That's Gitobu in Manyara.
Yes, that's Gitobu. Yeah, the younger selves. Yeah.
James.
James Orengo. Yes, can you imagine that's James Orengo?
Yeah.
Yes. And this is Josephat Karanja.
Josephat Karanja.
Yes.
Ford Asilis, Josephat Karanja, Ford Kenya's James Orengo, and Ford K's Gitobu Imanyara. Behind there?
At the back there, I don't know.
I can't actually figure out who is that. No, this is when they were just sharing a joke as they were leaving Parliament buildings. Yeah. After the 10 registered parties met with the Electoral Commission Chairman, Mr. Justice Chisoni, and other commission members on the 25th of November, 1994. Yes. Whoa. So this is our James.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey.
So this was Ford Asili, Ford K. Then before, now Orengo also went to Safina Party.
Safina, yes.
And then now ODM, finally.
Yes.
Fantastic. So 20 years now.
That Philip Okundi.
Is
behind Josephat Karanja. I
don't know. Behind just, we can just barely see.
Could bring
Okay, we try and expand it. So yes.
Philip Okundi.
That's Karanja.
Okay, all right. But director will just zoom it for you. So you want to see?
You can see it was.
So you're talking about this popping head here
The
behind
ones
just for
at the back.
Karanja.
No, that's not Philip.
Gosh, Orengo was
my
so
uncle,
young.
He was.
Oh, he was your whatever.
Yeah.
Orengo was really young.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Orengo should see this picture then. Huh?
Actually, now he looks more like his younger brother called Apollo.
Yes.
Really looks like.
So it's a spitting image
Yeah.
of Apollo.
Yeah.
There is Orengo with his unflappable smile. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming this evening. Right. Good evening. That's it. Thank you for your valued company. May you have a restorative night.